from showing Indy back in action like never before, to the sneaky Star Wars reference that the makers thought we'd miss. The recently revealed Indiana Jones 5 trailer is absolutely bonkers and is filled with details that you might have missed. Don't worry, I'm going to catch you up in no time. The trailer starts with Sanaa, a longtime friend of Jones's, longingly remembering the colorful past when Jones and Sanaa used to go on adventures in the desert and on the sea. These experiences were part of the Raiders and the Last Crusade movies. This dialogue is the background for a chase through a desert town and some scary ocean flashbacks. In the present, Indy is living his normal life in New York City and teaching archaeology to college students. Those days are over, Jones says with a shrug to Sanaa, and ironically, the next thing we see is Indy shining a light on an old figure right before he fights a goon on top of a moving train. We're also given a brief look at Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Helena Williams, and then Indiana is taken by the giving us our first look at Harrison Ford. The quality of the shot gave me cutting room floor footage from 30 years ago type vibes. When Mads Mikkelsen's big bad character Voller opens a wooden box, a flood of blue light comes out, and then we see Antonio Banderas in a role that hasn't been described or revealed yet. Antonio, Mads, and Harrison Ford in the same movie still feels like a dream, but I'm completely down for it. Of course, the trailer wouldn't have been complete without Indy being shown in his element, so obviously, we've got to see Indy's shenanigans. At first, we see Voller again in full gear, and a pair of hands are reaching for what looks like a secret artifact. Then we get a look at Jones on a horse as he stops a big ticker tape parade. Then we see Boyd Holbrook's Kleber chasing after Indy as he runs down a busy New York City street. The next shot is the mandatory one of Jones reaching for his fedora heroically, and his bullwhip and bag of tricks are close. After that, there's a chase on a sidecar motorcycle and a big explosion, and Jones and Williams then move a huge boulder, which could be a nod to his earlier movies, The Last Crusade and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Jones snaps his hands twice, once at what looks like a protester and the other at a from his past life. Kleber then quickly shoots a Luger into the air, and the three blows come in a nice, clean order that goes with the music in the trailer. A quick look at Toby Jones's Basil is followed by a flash of a strange glowing void that is the same color as the one seen coming from the glowing wooden box. Back on the moving train's roof, Indy throws a his gun away with a flick of his whip, giving us the satisfaction of seeing him do that again and making us nostalgic. I already know this movie is probably going to be the most nostalgic experience of the year for me, but that's not all. The final shots are just as awesome. More crazy action, cool callbacks, and an amazing soundtrack follow as the trailer nears as the last notes of the Indiana Jones theme song play. A quick series of chase scenes flash across the screen. Jones then keeps riding his horse into the subway tunnels of New York City, where he hardly escapes a coming train. The last shot of the trailer shows Jones swinging his bullwhip 3 times at a room full of shady people who respond by clicking their guns. The title of the movie appears on the screen, written in the Indiana Jones font and colors. Jones ducks behind a table in shock as the guns go off and the date of the movie's release flashes. Honestly, the scene reminds me of a scene in Temple of Doom, where Indiana Jones faces off against a group of swordsmen and goes for his gun, only to find that the holster is empty. In the next shot, we see Indy grinning as the action begins, and the screen cuts to black, giving us a good enough idea of what's about to happen. Along with the action, this well-cut footage from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is full of nostalgia and emotion, getting us ready for Indy's last trip around the world in search of fame and fortune. This is both exciting and sad, but at least we're getting to see one last ride that we'll get to enjoy, especially because it's a ride filled with fun Easter eggs and details. For example, the Star Wars reference. Fans with good eyes saw a big Easter egg in the trailer at the 1-minute 9-second mark, which made fans feel nostalgic but also gave them a fun surprise. As Indy seems to be looking out of the window of some kind of plane, these windows look suspiciously like the big round windows of Han Solo's ship, the Millennium Falcon, which is part of a franchise set in the Star Star Wars world in a galaxy far, far away. Since this is Ford's last time in the title part, it's not surprising that the trailer as well as the movie itself are full of Easter eggs and callbacks. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are executive producers, and John Williams is back as the movie's composer, mixing familiar parts of the famous Indiana Jones theme with a brand new sound. I have a very strong feeling that this is going to be a finale to remember, although the biggest question still remains regarding the movie's plot. The answer to the question can be found in the newly released trailer. Indy and Helena will definitely go on an adventure to get a powerful MacGuffin before Voller and his friends do, and as has been rumored for a long time, the Dial of Destiny seems to have the ability to move through time. What you might not know is that the new movie is based on real events that happened in the 1960s, when former members of the Third Reich worked for the US government, and Wernher von Braun, who inspired Voller, was a leader in space technology in the US after World War II. Not surprisingly, Indianapolis won't like it when the come back and get important jobs in the US government. But Indy won't just fight in the main plot, as it's been revealed that Ford was made to look younger for the opening scene, which takes place in 1944, around the same time as Raiders of the Lost Ark. This only adds more mystery, making fans wonder where that flashback sequence will be placed within the Indiana Jones timeline. But the trailer isn't everything, folks. There are other important details surrounding the movie. To say that making Indiana Jones 5 has been hard would be an understatement. The sequel has been pushed back and put off many times, and it's also been written by more than one person. But the latest news about Indiana Jones 5 is that after a lot of failures and delays, the release date is now finally set. The movie will come out on June 30th, 2023. It's also official that the film will be 2 hours and 22 minutes long, making it the longest movie in the series. Oh, and also, it'll be rated PG-13. But there's something fans are worried about. See, unlike Star Wars, this action-adventure series from Lucasfilm has been made by the same person from the start. The first 4 were directed by Steven Spielberg, but the latest Indiana Jones 5 news shows that he sadly won't be back for the 5th one.
Oh my God!
When Disney revealed that there would be an Indiana Jones 5 movie, Ford and Spielberg were the two main people involved. When Spielberg left, James Mangold, who directed Logan, took over as director. Still, Spielberg stayed on as a producer. Even though the changes sound exciting and promising, hopefully this movie will live up to its hype. And that's all for the details that you might have missed in the new Indiana Jones 5 trailer.